This video will focus on the utility layers and the use of this new online mapping application as a replacement to QView. For MyAIMS users with access to the Q and utility layers, the new online mapping system will eventually be a replacement for QView. If you're logged in, which you would do prior to coming in, or you can use, there should be a sign-in link up here in the upper right-hand corner. So if you're logged in with your MyAIMS username and password, you'll notice that you'll have some additional information available now underneath the utilities layer here. So if you expand that, you would see you now have infrastructure, easements and setbacks, and capital improvement projects. The infrastructure layer will show you all the various utility infrastructure lines, poles, and those sorts of things, color coded by type. So you'll notice we have color coding in here for electric, water, sewer, gas, and cable. So as you scroll down, you'll see a different color for each different type, and then showing you what type of infrastructure it is in the legend there. The easements and setbacks will provide you with building lines and easements that we've gotten provided to us by various cities and utilities. We currently only have the City of Overland Park and Gardner, but we're working to expand this data set. And then capital improvements are submitted by each city or utility and are essentially the capital improvement projects that they expect to get completed. And then those are color coded by the year that they anticipate those projects will be completed. So let me zoom in here on the map and we'll go through how this functionality actually works. Actually, I'm going to go to an area up here in Overland Park. So if I zoom in pretty tight, and then I turn on my infrastructure layer and let that draw, you can see here all of my various utility infrastructure lines and points that are drawn on the map. And zoom in a little bit tighter here, might even give you a little bit better idea. You can see here if I expand this out, I've got electric, I've got orange, which is cable, my green is going to be my sewer, I've got water here in blue. So all of my utility lines are drawn. Now if I wanted to be able to identify on these similarly as you would in QView, I can come up here and use the Identify tool, and I'll make sure that I have all visible layers selected, and then I'll drag a box here around a bunch of these utility layers. You'll notice then over on the right hand side I get a pop-up here that shows me the information behind everything that would have been in that area that I identified on. So I've got electric, I've got cable main information, sewer points, there was a sewer main there where I identified, and then it's going to bring back that information that you're used to seeing in the Identify window in Q to tell you who the provider is and give you some of that information back about that particular utility infrastructure. So in this case with this sewer main, it was Johnson County wastewater. It's going to give you some of that various information about it. It was vitrified clay pipe, and show you some of that information. I will tell you right now we're still working on this app, so there may be some information that you'll notice, like work orders and the inspection videos and stuff that you may be used to seeing with Johnson County wastewater that haven't been implemented yet, and we are still working on that. Again, you've got the show and pan here, so I can show that line, and then I can also pan to it. Go ahead and close that one. And I'm going to show you here, I'm going to reset my map out to full extent, turn off my infrastructure, and zoom in down here in Gardner to kind of show you what those setbacks, easement setbacks look like. If I zoom in on an area, turn off my infrastructure and turn on my easements and setbacks. And you'll see here you've got some of these lines that have started to draw, and if I expand that out, you'll notice we've got the legend here again. It's building lines, easements, and then some graphic information. Capital improvements, again, I'll just leave it here in Gardner. You can see here we've got some areas where they've submitted capital improvement projects, and then we've got those color coded by the year that they anticipate those will be done. And again, you can identify on these. If I select my all visible layers, and then I can click and drag a box right here, or I can actually just click within it, and you'll notice the information pops up for each one of those capital improvement projects. So as I open those up, I can actually see them, and then I can show which one I'm looking at. And it's going to give me the information and a link out here from the city telling you a little bit more about that project. One other familiar tool that you're probably used to within the Q view is what we consider our stoplight feature, which kind of tells you how we feel about the data, who the provider is, how recently it's been updated, and whether or not we even have data for that particular provider. So let me turn off everything here, reset my map, and I'll pick an area up here again and zoom in. And when I turn on my utility infrastructure, so I can actually see those lines again. Now if I hit this link here right above that says show servicers for extent, when I hit that, I'm actually going to get a window that opens up that's going to provide me with that stoplight feature that you're used to within Q. That's going to tell you, the red light means the data, we don't have that data. Yellow would be we have it, but it's not very current. And then green would be it's fairly current, it's been recently updated, we're pretty confident in the quality of that data. Then you can close this window, and as I pan the map, if I wanted to pan to a different area, let my utilities draw again, let my map refresh. If I hit that link again, that same window is going to pop up here in a second. And it's going to have updated data. And this in case I'm in pretty much the same area, so all that data is pretty much updated. But let me go out here to an area, a different area where we would have some different data. And I'll show you what that looks like. For this particular area, when I hit that show servicers for extent, and let that window pop up, so you'll notice it's updated for that specific area. So it is looking at this particular extent, pulling the providers that we have, and then telling you how updated that data is and what quality we feel it is. So you do still have that stoplight feature in there. So that kind of covers what we have in here as far as the utility layers. Obviously you can still use all of the other layers that are available, but if you do log in and have access to utilities and the queue, you'll notice that you do get that infrastructure, the easements and setbacks, and the capital improvement projects. Again, we're still updating most of this utility layers based on feedback we get from the users, so if there are things that you want to see added or that you need based on what you currently have in queue, please let us know. And feel free to get in and play around with this and get comfortable with it, because eventually this probably will be a replacement for QView.